All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Errol Spence beat an injured and rushed Kell Brook. Otherwise, Errol Spence might have lost that fight, says Terence Crawford, in preparation for his upcoming fight with Kell Brook coming up in next week, I do believe. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Terence Bud Crawford, the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. I'm letting everything go. I'm letting everything go, man. All these other guys not fighting people, man. I ain't about to hold it against people for not fighting people when you got all this nonsense going on, man. So anyway, I'll give Terence Crawford his number one spot because I do believe he deserves that. He's going to be fighting Kell Brook, and it's going to be a hard fight to sell for a lot of people because there are people that look at Kell Brook and say, hey, man, what has Kell Brook done for me lately, right? Fair thing to ask. I don't necessarily agree with that. I actually believe that this is one of the better, stiffest competition. It might be the stiffest competition that Terence Crawford has fought in his career. And I say that as if that's a good thing because really you could say the same thing about Errol Spence Jr. I mean, other than the Sean Porter fight, the Kell Brook fight, I do believe was the hardest of his career. Kell Brook is legitimately a solid fighter. So when I say what I'm going to say in this video where, Terence Crawford is saying, Errol, beat him. He was losing the fight until Kell Brook got injured. That's reasonable because I think that is pretty much what it was. When I watched the fight with Kell Brook and Errol Spence, I thought that was a very, very close fight. Now, I thought that Errol Spence was really starting to press the gas and really come on stronger and stronger before that injury popped up. But still, Kell Brook gave him a good fight. And if he had not been beaten by Gennady Golovkin, maybe he would have been put on a better performance against Errol Spence. Now I can say maybe because it didn't happen and it don't matter. Errol Spence Jr. beat him. Errol Spence Jr. became the IBF champion. He went on to beat Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson. Now he's fighting Danny Garcia, right? Sean Porter. It just is. It is what it is. He won the fight, but it's no shade on Errol Spence Jr. to say that was a tough fight. That is actually a compliment to Errol Spence Jr. because that's what you want in boxing. You want a champion to have to earn it against a champion that gives him a good fight. Now, I'm hoping that is exactly what we're going to get in the next fight with Terence Crawford. I expect a good fight. I expect for people to walk out of there saying, oh, that was tougher for Bud than I thought it was going to be. And there are going to be people that say, oh, well, I got to get him off my pound for pound list because he had a hard time. He had a harder time with Kell Brook, and Kell Brook was, he hadn't won a major fight in several years, and all of that nonsense that people are going to do to Terence Crawford if he beats this guy. But the fact of the matter is Kell Brook is a solid fighter. What the guy said is true. First of all, he only has lost to Gennady Golovkin and Errol Spence. That's just a fact. And he's not been inactive. He has fought several times since then, and he's won all of those fights. He had maybe one fight that people thought was a little lackluster, but still, dude, Kell Brook is a solid fighter. This is not Amir Khan. This is not Jose Benavidez. This is not Jeff Horn. This is not those fighters. This is a legitimate challenge for Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford is going to have to be on his P's and Q's to win the fight because Kell Brook is he's a big fighter. He's a strong fighter. He's over there in the UK getting ready. So he's going to make weight. He doesn't have a rehydration clause like he did in the fight with Errol Spence Jr. or the fight with, I don't know, Gennady Golovkin might have been. Well, no, he didn't have a rehydration problem there. He did have a rehydration problem, though, with Errol Spence Jr. because he's just so big at 147. So, look, man, I'm telling you, man, look at this fight and do not be surprised if this fight is more closely contested than people think that it will be. And when he wins it, Terence Crawford, because I believe he will, he's going to get 100% full credit for me because I said that this is the least acceptable fight. Like, I would have rather seen him fight Sean Porter. I would rather have seen him fight or Ordenis Ugas. I would have rather seen him fight, Keith Thurman, whoever. However, Kell Brook, you can't sneeze at Kell Brook because you can't just dismiss him because he does not have a gunshot wound in his leg like Jose Benavidez. He does not have a glass jaw like Amir Khan. He is not like, he's not somebody that's never, that has one win where I kind of thought the dude might have lost. But whatever, you get the point. In Jeff Horn, this is a real legitimate fight, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to pan out for Terence Crawford. And if he beats him, God bless him. And hey, man, you're going to be the number one pound for pound guy. But I'm telling you what they're going to do to Bud. What they're going to do to Bud is if he doesn't knock Kell Brook out, they're going to put Monster Inoue on top of him. Oh, I forgot. They fired Steve Kim. But maybe not. See, sometimes in video you got to think. Will they do it? Because, no, they're going to do it because he just signed with them. He's with Top Rank, and they're going to be pushing Monster Inoue, right? Because Terence Crawford is what right now on the totem pole of Top Rank? He's like number 4 or 5. Fury, even though I don't think Fury's there anymore, I have a suspicion they're done with Fury and he ain't coming back to the United States. But there's Fury, Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez. I guess maybe he's now over Vasily Lomachenko. But guess what? Dog, they're going to be looking to feed you to somebody just like they fed Lomachenko to somebody. They're just waiting for the right time. So, I personally think that after this fight, Terence Crawford needs to try his best to do a Canelo Alvarez and break free. Now, on a side point, I've got to give Terence Crawford a lot of credit because Kevin Aioli tried to bait him to say something that would have got him fried. And he didn't take the bait. Now, I'm not saying Kevin Aioli did it to get him fried, but trust me, Bud knew the ramifications of saying what they were trying to get him to say. And in the midst of doing so, Kevin Aioli just proved to me again what a monstrous fake these people are. What a monstrously fake. First, Kevin Aioli asked Terence Crawford, "Do you think that you deserve to be put in the conversation with the greatest welterweights of all time?" I was like, man, if you say this, please, Bud, don't say it. I was seriously, because people have been coming to my chat trying to tell me all kind of stuff Bud been saying. And I'm like, ain't no way Bud said that. Bud ain't stupid. But greatest welterweights of all time, Bud said, look, blah, 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 blah. I think I'm the best of my time. Thank you. And right there, I was like, okay, now I understand why Bud doesn't like to answer some of these media questions. Because if he would have said he belongs in one of the greatest welterweights of all time, that's a sucker move, dude. You ain't beat nobody at welterweight, and all you were going to do is get fried for it. So I was like, man, thank goodness that he did not take this bait that Kevin Aioli set for him. Now, here's the other thing that Kevin Aioli did. And this is why I got to tell you, why I'm telling you, dude, watch these media guys because they try to hide behind a facade of politeness. They try to hide behind a facade of education and a pleasant demeanor. But, dude, at the bottom of them, dude, that's a snake, okay? It's a snake. And let me tell you why I believe that about Kevin Aioli, and this is going to be something that you might think is just innocuous and not a big deal. But for me, it's a big deal. This dude says, this is a PG channel. He's saying, hey, people are going to say that you're going to kick his, but I can't say ASS because Yahoo is a family channel. Yahoo lets you lie about fighters like rugs. What part of that is family? Like, you won't cuss, but you'll lie. You won't cuss, but you will lie. You will not cuss, but you will not correct yourself when you made an error. Because either you made it up with saying that Deontay Wilder blamed the loss of Tyson Fury on his headdress, right? Instead of saying, man, I don't know what's wrong with me. Even my headdress hurt. Wondering, dog, could it be my headrest? It's not the same thing as saying it is my headdress. It is my helmet. Now, oh God, could it be? I don't know. My legs were just so sore. Excuses. The bronze bomber making excuses, but I won't cuss while I lie on him. I'll be perfectly nice. I'll have my glasses on so that you'll think I'm intelligent. I'll have a bunch of books behind me that I didn't read just so you think that I'm educated. And I will act like I am above you by not cussing. All the while lying about you, tearing down your reputation, misinforming people, misdirecting people. No, friend, please cuss at me and save the rest, okay? I would rather have somebody cuss at me and be fair than somebody be high on the hog, better than I would never cuss while they are cheating you to death, okay? And that's what Kevin Aioli did to Deontay Wilder, and Kevin Aioli was about to do to Terence Crawford if he had been dumb enough to answer that question. But that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think, and with that, I'm out. Peace.